The night I learned the truth, everything inside me broke. My own father was the man leading the investigation into my mother's death. At first, I couldn't believe it. How could he, the man who raised me, be so close to her murder, yet never tell me? My name is Emma. I am 29 years old now. When I was a child, my life looked normal. Everyone around me thought we were a happy family. We lived in a small town where everyone knew each other. My father's name was Richard. He was a police detective. People respected him because he worked hard and kept the town safe. My mother's name was Susan. She was kind and gentle. She smiled a lot and always made me feel warm and safe. I loved sitting next to her, listening to her soft voice. At school, I would tell my friends, my mom is the nicest person. But inside our house, things were different. Behind the closed doors, I felt a cold silence. Sometimes, I heard my parents whisper in low voices, but I did not understand what they were saying. I often saw my mother look worried, and my father looked tired, like a heavy weight was on his shoulders. I wanted to ask them what was wrong, but I was scared. I thought maybe it was my fault somehow. Now, many years later, I see the truth. My father had secrets. Dark secrets. Secrets that changed everything I thought I knew about my family. I didn't want to believe it, but the truth was there, hidden in shadows I could not ignore. I want to tell you how it all began. How the cracks in my family started to show. When I was a child, I did not understand these cracks. I thought my family was like any other family. But looking back, I see now that things were not as simple as they seemed. My earliest memories of my mother are soft and warm. She was gentle with me. Every night, she would sit by my bed and braid my hair slowly, one small braid at a time. Her fingers moved carefully, like she was making a special gift for me. While she worked, she sang quiet songs. Her voice was like a calm river, soft and steady. I felt safe with her. Her smile was like sunshine after a rainy day. But my father was very different. He was not mean, but he was far away in a way I could not reach. He worked long hours as a police detective. When he came home, he looked tired. He did not smile much. Sometimes, I would watch him sit in his big chair, his head bent down, and his eyes heavy with thoughts I could not see. I wanted to ask him about his day. But every time I tried, he said the same thing, "It's nothing you need to worry about, Emma." One night, when I was about 8 years old, I was lying in bed and heard voices from the next room. The voices were low but serious. I got up quietly and walked to the door. I stood behind it, holding my breath. My mother was crying. I could hear her soft sobs. My father's voice was low, but there was anger in it. It was a calm anger, like a storm inside a glass. "You promised me you wouldn't see him again," my mother said, her voice shaking. "I have to." "You don't understand what I'm dealing with," my father replied. I did not know who he was. I felt scared and confused. Why were they talking like this? Why was my mother crying? That night, I learned something very sad. My parents' marriage was not as strong as I thought. It was breaking, like thin ice on a frozen lake. But no one told me this. I was just a child, and I did not understand the dangers that were coming. I wished I could make the pain stop. But I was small, and the world was full of secrets I was not ready for. My mother was found dead on a cold autumn morning. I was 17 years old then. The day was gray and quiet outside, but inside my world, a storm was coming. The news hit me like thunder. It was sudden and strong. My mother was gone. She was killed in her own home. No one knew how it happened. No one knew why. I remember sitting in my classroom when the police came. They looked serious. I felt my heart stop. I could not move. My body was frozen with shock. One of the officers spoke gently. They wanted to ask me questions, to hear what I knew. I wanted to tell them everything, but my voice was weak and small. I felt lost in a big, dark room. My father was the lead detective on the case. He was calm and professional when he worked. But when I looked at him, I saw something else. I saw pain. Deep pain. It was like a shadow behind his eyes. He tried not to show it. He tried to be strong for me and everyone else. But I knew. I saw the sadness he could not hide. At home, no one talked about my mother's death. The house was quiet, too quiet. It was like there was a big wall between us, between me and my father. We did not say her name. We did not speak about the case. It felt like we were all walking on broken glass. Every step was painful, but we could not stop. For many years after that day, I lived with questions that had no answers. Who hurt my mother? Why did this happen to her? Was it a stranger? Or someone she knew? I thought about these questions all the time. I hoped the truth would come out one day. I wanted to understand. But the truth stayed hidden, like a secret locked inside a dark box. Sometimes, I would sit by my mother's old chair. I would hold her favorite scarf. I would try to remember her smile, her soft voice. But the silence around me was heavy. It made me feel lonely, even when people were near. I wanted to feel safe again. But I didn't know if that was possible. The pain was too big. The questions were too many. And the truth was still lost somewhere far away. 2 years ago, when I was 27, something changed my life. It started on a quiet afternoon when I was cleaning my father's study. The room smelled old, like dust and forgotten memories. I was looking for a book when I saw a small box, hidden behind tall piles of papers and folders. The box was covered in dust. It looked like no one had opened it for a long time. Curious, I carefully pulled the box out. I wiped the dust off the lid and slowly opened it. Inside, I found letters, police reports, and photos. It was all about the murder case, my mother's murder. My heart beat faster, and my hands felt cold. I wasn't sure if I should look at these things. Maybe it was better to leave the past alone. But something inside me wanted to know the truth. I started to read. As I looked through the papers, I found notes written by my father. His handwriting was sharp and sometimes messy. I could feel the anger and doubt in his words. He was not just doing his job. He was hunting someone very close to our family. That scared me. Then, I found a folded letter, different from the others. It was not a police report or a note. It was a letter from my father, but he never sent it. The letter was addressed to me. Emma, it began. You deserve the truth. Your mother's death was not random. I was part of something terrible. I hope one day you can forgive me. My hands started to shake. My eyes filled with tears. What did he mean by something terrible? What had he done? For a moment, I felt frozen, like the whole room was spinning. I wanted answers, but I was also afraid of what I might find. That night, I could not sleep. I kept reading the letter again and again. I wished I could understand my father's words. The next day, I decided to talk to him. I needed to know everything, no matter how hard it would be. I found him sitting in his chair, the same chair where he used to sit quietly after work. He looked tired, but when he saw me, his eyes changed. I could see fear and sadness in them. Dad, I said softly, I found the box. The letter. Why did you keep this from me? What do you mean by something terrible? He did not answer right away. He looked away, then back at me. His voice was low. Emma, there are things you were never meant to know, but now you do. I will tell you everything. I felt a mix of fear and relief. Fear of the truth, and relief that maybe, finally, I would understand. Dad, why didn't you tell me? I asked, my voice trembling. Tears ran down my cheeks. I could feel my heart breaking with every word. Were you involved in Mom's death? He looked away. His eyes were heavy with pain, and his hands were shaking just a little. After a long silence, he spoke in a low, quiet voice. I wasn't involved, Emma. I swear. But I was hiding something. I felt my breath catch. My hands clenched into small fists. What do you mean? I whispered, afraid of his answer. He looked back at me, his eyes full of sorrow. Your mother, she was in danger. I tried to protect her, but I failed. His voice broke, and I saw tears welling up. How? I asked, barely able to speak. What do you mean she was in danger? He took a deep breath and began to tell me a story. It was a story I was not ready to hear. Your mother was seeing someone, he said slowly, someone dangerous. I found out that this man was connected to a bad criminal group. My mind started to spin. I didn't want to hear this. My mother? The kind, warm woman I loved? How could she be involved with danger? I tried to warn her, my father said, looking down at his hands. I told her to stay away. But she didn't want to listen. She thought she could handle it. I remembered my mother's soft voice and her smile. It hurt to think of her in trouble. The night she died, he continued, I was working. I was out on duty. I couldn't be there to protect her. I believe that man, he's the one who hurt her. But I never had enough proof to stop him. I felt a cold sadness spread through me. I wanted to scream, to cry, to blame someone. But my father's next words stopped me. I kept the truth hidden to protect you, he said, his voice almost a whisper. But keeping it secret only made everything worse. I looked at him, feeling both anger and sorrow. He had tried to protect me and my mother. But sometimes, protection can hurt more than help. The silence between us was heavy. I didn't know what to say. My heart was full of pain, but also a little understanding. We were both broken, carrying secrets that hurt too much. The worst moment came when I learned the truth about my father's work. His police department had made a deal with the family of the man they thought was the killer. They stopped the investigation. No one was arrested. The case was buried quietly, like a secret no one wanted to speak about. I could not believe it. My heart broke. My father was caught between two hard things, his job and his family. He had to choose. And he chose silence. He chose to keep the truth hidden. I felt a deep, burning betrayal. The man I loved and trusted the most, the man I called Dad, had kept the biggest secret from me. He was protecting the killer. Or maybe he was protecting himself. The idea made my chest hurt. I could not hold it inside any longer. I shouted at him, my voice shaking with pain and anger. How could you? How could you let her die and then lie to me? His eyes filled with tears. I saw the sadness and regret in his face. His voice was soft and full of pain. I'm sorry, Emma. I never stopped loving your mother, or you. For a moment, we both just sat there. The silence was heavy and full of grief. I wanted to hate him, but I also wanted to understand. I wanted to believe he did what he thought was right. That night, I realized how complicated love and truth can be. Sometimes, people make choices to protect others, even if those choices hurt the people they love the most. That night, I cried for a long time. Tears fell down my cheeks like rain. My heart felt heavy and broken. I sat alone in my room, holding my mother's old scarf. I missed her so much. The sadness felt endless. But after a while, something inside me changed. I understood something very hard and true: people are not perfect. Even the people we love the most can make big mistakes. They can hurt us without meaning to. Since that night, my relationship with my father is different. It is not the same as before. It is fragile, like a thin glass that could break easily. But it is honest now. We talk more. We share small moments, like drinking tea together or sitting quietly in the living room. I still feel pain, but I am trying to forgive him. Not because he deserves it, but because I need peace inside me. I started going to therapy. Talking to someone helped me face my sadness and anger. I also joined a group where people share stories about losing someone to violence. Hearing their stories made me feel less alone. Sharing my own story helped me heal slowly, day by day. My mother's death changed everything in my life. It was like a dark cloud that stayed with me every day. Some days, the pain felt too big to hold. But slowly, I learned something important. I learned about truth and how it can be hard to accept. I learned that pain is a part of life. And I learned that love is not always simple. Sometimes, love is full of mistakes and sadness, but it is still real. I don't have all the answers. Some wounds are deep and don't fully heal. They stay with me, like soft scars on my heart. But even with the pain, I choose to keep moving forward. Every small step, every breath, is a way to live and to hope. I am still learning how to live with the past, but I believe there is light ahead. Thank you so much for listening to my story. Have you ever felt this kind of pain or confusion? I'd love to hear your story, too. Please share your feelings in the comments below. Let's support each other and heal together. Before you go, please tell me in the comments, where are you listening from? I'd really love to know.